Hey, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the September 25th EDC board meeting. Call the meeting to order. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes from the July 21st meeting? Were sent out and available online this morning. Okay, I have a mover and seconder. Resolved that the meeting minutes from the July 21st, 2025 meeting be approved as presented. Joe and Anna. Okay, and then in terms of declaration of security interest, aside from Ganna, as an employee of Algoma Steel, Rick has indicated that his discussion today on the Port of Algoma doesn't cover anything financial. It's all public knowledge, so you're good. Anyone have anything else they need to declare? So then moving on to the adoption of the agenda. So for the agenda of September 25th, we have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda as presented. Gerald and Bill.
Moving in.
Okay. So new business and updates. So first on the list is the Port of Algoma update.
Yeah, I just wanted to give everybody a brief overview if you haven't seen the articles that were already published on the OPA city partnership. So we have formed a partnership with the OPA operation, which is the Hamilton Oshawa Port Authority. And they currently run a number of ports in southern Ontario, so we chose them as a great partner to move forward on this project with, because they bring the experience and the knowledge which we don't have. So that's what they do. They run ports and they're quite good at it. So we've entered into an agreement with them. They are going to be assisting us working through governance, working through all the basic nuts and bolts of how do you first advance a port and then run a port. So we'll be working in partnership with them to determine the best path forward. Doesn't necessarily we'll be the operator, they'll be the operator, but they're going to be working closely with us to see how we can advance this project. We've been working with them previously a bit, just they were giving us some advice and we had some earlier conversations with them. But as of recent, their interest was is getting a lot higher. I guess some of it based on the current political situations and things like that is driving some of the decision making right now. But we look forward to working with them. We will have one of their managers will be on site here quite frequently now to work with us. We have a number of studies underway, so he'll be helping us assess the data and providing guidance and support. So just want to give everybody an update on that. If you have any questions, please answer. Timelines still being developed. So the first key timeline will be in January, which is basically we'll have all our studies and data in at that point. So we'll be able to start getting into a decision-making process. So we'll understand, the impacts of what a potential port would be, what type of, if any dredging was required, things like that. So that's the first key decision point. From there, then we will actually be able to publish a much more firm timeline as to what the go forward path would be.
My question is, they're with us as consultants at this point.
They're not as a consultant, they're as a, we've entered into a memorandum of understanding with them. So
An ownership,
yeah, not yet, no, nothing like that. No, so we're just,
is that where you're moving towards this?
if the data takes us there, that's where we'll end up. So right now, they're acting as a subject matter expert to help us guide through this. They see the benefit of opening up the Northern Ontario to Southern Ontario corridor. So they want to help us do that, and they also have the resources in Southern Ontario that want to make that a reality.
But would it be the operators, the city would have no interest in it?
Governance hasn't been landed on yet, but there's about 3 or 4 different models you can go. So, yeah, we haven't put the governance out yet, so that's all.
So that's an open issue.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
This is an important project, and I think if there's any ways the EDC can participate or support the project, I think if you can bring options to us in the future, that we could support this or some way help, keep us in mind on that.
Definitely, well, and appreciate that, and just further to that board update, we've applied for another $4.5 million of funding. So that's through the Trade Impacted Communities Program, which is tied to the current situation, so that would be money to assist some design and stuff like that, so. As to our actual need at this point. That's to be determined. I think once we get to the governance point, I think there should be a lot of conversation with members here to see, what it looks like for as an advisory board to be able to say, this is a good way to take it or not. So we'll be definitely leaning on you
Any
for.
federal money available to EDC to pass on this venture?
I don't know. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. So I can.
The tariff issue.
Yeah. So I've been looking at all that. Almost daily, there's a new program that's being announced, so. I definitely go into the eligibility and can check boxes, and so we're all over that.
Numerous studies have been done in the past. Are any of those relevant?
Yeah, so what we did was, instead of reinventing the wheel on everything. The things like, and you'll have to correct if I get this wrong, the bathymetric.
Bathymetric surveys, yes.
Right, so that you have to do on a somewhat current basis, because that can change at any time, I guess, based on currents and things like that.
Mhm.
So those studies are fresh. But things like the commercial study, where there's already a lot of money that was spent on it, a massive undertaking. As opposed to reinventing that, we took that document. And then we contracted out to Master University. They have a transportation and logistics group. So there's a couple of professors that have been interviewing people in the area, making phone calls to them and spending an hour with them to better understand the market opportunity for us as we move forward. So we haven't spent a lot of money yet at all. Yeah.
And it's hope I had identified any gaps in previous studies, anything that wasn't covered, anything that needs to be done moving forward?
Yeah, I think they have definitely the approach to the port. In the past, it was to make a big, massive port that, would be able to the size of Halifax or something, which was overkill for here. With Hope's help, we've been looking at it, and the quickest route is a phased implementation. So if we can make it happen, ideally, phase one would be a roll on, roll off type operation to get trucks off the road going to southern Ontario, to reduce congestion, to reduce GHGs. And just get them in here, put them on the barges, get them down into southern Ontario. So they've identified that as a good opportunity for us. And then the second phase would obviously be important, where we could start bringing in the Lakers and the Salties to do more things like salt coming in and all the other products and bulk products.
As far as railroads, everyone understand what railroad operation is? So it's
Sound
typically.
really
Yes. So like a transport trailer would be loaded on a vessel, and then the truck detached or the engine detached, so it's just moving the cargo without the truck itself, and then being picked up, shunted at the other end to the air carrier, so it's keeping the trucks off the road and really alleviating man hours. So it's not long haul shipping, it's more localized at either end.
In the long term thinking, is there gonna be a railway connection? Or is it just
Yes,
gonna be-
yeah, that would be critical to, advancing the port that you can handle bulk, so you've got to have that connectivity.
I just had a guy called a couple of weeks ago, and he wants to move 20,000 tons every couple of months actually in the middle of the Ontario catch station. Bulk stuff, but I'm sure I didn't do it. Container ain't gonna work. But anyway, it's been a bit, but even makes sense.
Yeah, when we'd be looking we'd be looking at any and all opportunities like that. So we're already looking across a number of sectors, ranging from forestry, agriculture, critical minerals. I mean, we are in the north, so we have a lot of opportunities for both movements.
Yeah, it's fertilizer, actually, well. Some process for. Phosphate.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a mining capsules.
Okay, but I think we've spoken to him just recently.
Well,
I haven't personally, but one of my guys did, yeah.
it's looking. Yeah, he's got customers in India. It's really good.
Excellent.
All kind of business is welcome, yeah.
Yeah,
Any other questions for Rick?
But it's also gonna be container mill.
yeah, the ultimate goal is we want to go full multimodal. So bulk, container, the whole thing.
Be interesting to see the dynamics of that. As far as getting empty for me. Or probably coming in. We should. So the challenge we have sometimes in Montreal is having enough empties to fill with stuff from here. So it's gonna be even more of a challenge here. To get empties up, so if you're exporting stuff from here, you get the containers in here, something else that they should use to go back in.
Yeah, and I think that'll all come through the analysis. I mean, a lot of it's based on scale too, right? I don't think we'll ever be Port of Montreal taking a couple of million containers a year, right? Yeah.
Hopefully, hopefully it's better.
That's the thing, we always think of exports from the city, but imports are equally.
Yeah.
Important.
It's exciting.
Okay, and that's the updates there. The next update was on energy products. Or energy projects that are being proposed, so. I want to qualify this on the front end, these are not done deals, these are just organizations that have approached the city for a letter of support. There's no contractual obligations, all it says that if you are awarded by the IESO a certain percentage of this energy production. That the city would come back and look at it with you and talk about it further. There's no commitments whatsoever, other than just saying, yeah, well, sure, make it happen, we'll talk to you. So I think yeah, it's just, it becomes a very strong point of discussion when you're talking to people that they say, well, we don't want that. Well, we're not saying you're gonna get it. This is just part of the process. This is the initial of an IESO, which is the Independent Electrical Services Operator, I believe. Is their full term. They provide power to the grid for all of Ontario. So they are currently putting out bids for future power requirements. So this is. Just wants to qualify with as I put these things out there. None of these is done. None of these are committed to yet. None of these have even been approved by IESO. But they are all publicly, they've gone through council, so we've identified them. So right now, there's two sections of this RFP that the IESO has put out there. The first section will be for power generation. And the second section is for power storage. Power generation applications to IESO close this month. So as of our most recent council meeting, no more applications are accepted by IESO past that date. So even if somebody wants to bring in power generation now, they're too late. So they'd have to wait for the next round of IESO ones, which are probably a year or two out. The power storage is going to close in December. So I can give you a little more line of sight right now on the generation. Because they've gone through council and the public. As far as all I can tell you about the energy storage projects we have is currently there are 3 different companies vying for energy storage using Sault Ste. Marie as one of their locations. Sometimes they may have multiple applications across Ontario. But from a generation standpoint, there's the Axiom PUC proposal that just was brought to council on Monday, and it's for 250 megawatts of solar power. And that would be across, they're looking at the airport area predominantly. Then the second application was the EDF and Batchewana First Nation, and they're looking at putting in wind storage. They're looking to generate 200 megawatts power, but about 100 of that would be within the city of Sault Ste. Marie property, and the other 100 approximately would be in located in Prince. The interesting thing now with wind power, with the amount of towers we have out there right now that are currently in operation, the new towers are about between, it depends on where they land and how long it takes to move, but they are between 3 and 4 times more efficient at generating power. So the footprint and the number of towers is significantly reduced on wind as to what it was 15 years ago when the original wayfarms were built. With these projects, there is community benefit. This is where I think it's good for us, is that there's not a lot of jobs once you get past construction. But with the power generation right now, for example, the first one, the Axiom PUC partnership, is the city benefits from being the prime shareholder of PUC. So PUC would have a 10% ownership in that, and obviously that flows back through to the city, a certain percentage of that. The typical project, there's a price per megawatt that companies offer to the community. So on an annual basis, they say right now, the standard for that we're seeing right now is about $3,000 a megawatt. So if a company puts in a 100 megawatt project to generate power, we would get $3,000 per megawatt each year for the 20 years of that project. So it equates to $300,000 a year we'd be getting, or whatever the math works out, depending on what the final megawatts they land on. So we do get a direct cash benefit from that. And in addition to that, we would see increased land taxes on most of it, depending on the zoning. Right now, your current residential zoning, the industrial occupied zoning would be actually a tax rate that is 0.05 above, so significantly above residential taxes. So the city would benefit from the taxes there as well. And the organizations are also offering up a $25,000 a year community development fund, which would not be given to the city. It would be given to organizations within the communities to support the community and activities and development within the community. So that's that, and I'll have an update for you early in the new year on all the storage projects that have been proposed. Similar, nothing's agreed to, nothing's not locked in stone, but there are some very good opportunities for the community within this from a revenue generation standpoint.
Rich mentioned the new wind towers are more efficient compared to the ones that are there now. Are they higher? Are they bigger than the other ones, than the current wind towers?
I can't tell you with absolute certainty. I can tell you that the footprint is still the same. So the amount of land and the base and things like that is pretty much the same. Tower construction, I'm sure, has changed and evolved. I know definitely that the turbine and the actual you call them propellers, whatever the proper term is. The construction has changed significantly on those, and they're now recyclable and things like that they weren't in the past. So I don't have lots of specifics on that. I could get you some more info on them pretty quickly.
Just curious.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know the towers that we have now are the farm, the wind farm? What was the lifespan on those?
I believe the lifespan is typical, the contract is 20 years. So I believe they go 20 years with those. There is routine maintenance that has to happen, and sometimes there's breakdowns of anything. I believe it's 20 years. Absolutely, yeah.
But you can dispose of much easier than the old ones. They do. And you can restructure, they share them. You can basically generate them again. Change the guts inside.
It's interesting you say that because oftentimes you're going by an old wind farm and you just see the turbines just completely still and on a windy day, and you wonder what they're going to do with all those towers, right? So.
Yeah, but like everything, technology and cyclability is really so. Any other questions? Great, that's all I have.
Thanks. Okay, so that was it for what was on the agenda for today, other than discussing upcoming meetings. So our next meeting would be typically in November. Unless we have reason to meet earlier. And it'd be nice to start getting back to the executive meeting a week in advance of the regular board meeting. So we could plan for sometime in November, late November. Or for everyone. And does everyone, does the poll that comes online, does that work for everyone for choosing dates instead of doing it now? So stick to that. Okay.
So just on that, if we have the executive meeting, we'll try to get the agenda done the week before, that we could have the agenda at the executive, and then the week after it'll just roll over. If any changes are needed.
Okay, so we'll look to adjourn. So resolve this meeting now adjourned. I have a mover and a second, please. Joe and Bill. We're going to be moving into closed session. So resolve that the board move into closed session to discuss financial items. A mover and a second.